Welcome back to the City of Palms podcast. Two brothers got together, started a podcast to shine light on talented individuals in the Southwest Florida area. Thank you for watching, viewing, and subscribing.
Episode 112.
Hey.
Hey.
How you doing, bro?
I'm doing amazing, bro.
Donnie
Doing
Goodman.
good.
How was your day today, dude?
I think.
It was good. I took my dad. It's his 58th birthday.
Oh, what?
I took him to get his quote unquote drip trip. I took him to Miramar. We went to Ralph Lauren, Perry Ellis, and I took him to Tista, bro.
Oh, what? I saw that on your
Shout out
story.
Tista. Shout out my barber. You see my hair right now? This is all Tista. And these guys go to Tista too.
Shout out
I think.
Tista.
I think
Been
at
on the
least Danny.
podcast, but he's been on the podcast.
Yeah.
Shout out Tista.
Yeah, it was a good day.
That's good, man. That's good, dude. Happy birthday to your dad, man. Birthday, Mr.
Big
Goodman.
5'8". Yeah,
Hey,
he's
nice,
killing
dude.
it.
Nice, dude. I do want to address where we're at. People, if you're watching on YouTube, you're probably like, oh, new studio? Not a new studio. Donnie's office. Yeah.
Place of business. First time on site.
That's right, dude. First time that we've been traveling and going with it. But no, dude, it's amazing. It's amazing, like, sitting in here, like, sitting down with you in the place of work. I love it, dude. Congrats, bro. This is huge.
Thank you, man. Glory to God, bro.
Amen.
Yes,
For
sir.
real.
And I remember seeing on the Instagram stories like the renovation process and stuff, and I was been wanting to stop by, so it's cool that we finally here and get to check the place out and everything.
Blessed to have you guys. Thank you.
How old are you?
21.
No way, dude.
You're 21?
Dude, that's
21.
amazing. That's amazing, bro. Praise God.
Wow.
That's so sick. That's amazing. Wow. Yeah.
Were you born and raised around here?
Yeah, I was born in Fort Myers in the Villas, near Provincetown, right off Summerlin. Yeah, and then when I was 2, we moved to Cape Coral, and I've lived in Cape ever since I was like 2 years old. So, yeah, man, born and raised.
Nice, dude. Nice. What is there to do out in Cape, like, for fun? What do you do for fun out in Cape?
I mean, back like when I would do a lot in Cape, it would be like Mike Greenwell's.
Oh, okay.
It would be
Okay.
like mini golf or like bowling. Bro, it's Cape Coral, man.
Yeah.
It's just like you think of Cape Coral, it's like houses and land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like all.
Do you ride? Do you ride dirt bikes?
No, I don't. I like jet skis though,
Okay.
4-wheelers. When I was in Puerto Rico a couple months ago, we did 4-wheeling, but other than that, I want to do like jet skiing soon. I was checking the prices a couple days ago, so hopefully we can get that in. But it's expensive though.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
Yeah, I bet.
I've heard nothing but good things about jet skis. I've never been on a jet
You've
ski.
never been on a jet ski?
Never.
Oh,
that's
But
great.
everyone I've ever talked to says it's the best experience.
You can't be mad
Dude,
on
it's
one.
like you're just gliding on water. Like
Yeah.
it's dope. It's
Great.
dope.
And it's not that expensive
unless
to
you
do,
hit like
is
a
it?
dolphin or something, then it's really not. But
Can't you? Is it not that expensive to do it? To buy one,
No.
obviously, is expensive, but like to just ride one.
it's pretty expensive. It's like
Especially now, this season.
the guys yesterday. I was at like this dock thing because I lost my phone in the middle of a park and I found it the next day later, like in the middle of the park on the grass. And they were at this park. They had jet skis there. And I just went up to them and was like asking about prices. It was like $100 an hour.
Oh wow,
So it's not cheap.
dang!
But it got me thinking about wanting to do a jet ski business or something, man. Because I was talking to them, I was like, y'all are cash flowing really good on these things, man. $100 an hour, like with a jet ski mortgage, it's probably like $150 a month, and then you get in that back in 1 hour. Like,
Yeah.
just thinking about it had me wanting to do it.
That's true, dude. That's true. Yeah, that'd be great.
There's the area for it too,
Oh, for sure, dude.
especially in season.
For sure.
Snowbirds love a jet ski.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So it's crazy. Like, it's crazy that we've just met like recently, and that we've all been born and raised here. We're about the same age. That's crazy. I still get it. It's a kick. Same with Nick, the last guy we interviewed like a couple episodes back from Ride Nature. It's crazy when you meet somebody and you're
Yeah,
like,
we're in
how
close
we just now
proximity,
meet?
but-
Yeah.
Where'd you go to school?
High school, Mariner.
Okay. Did you play a lot of sports through school?
Yeah, that was my main thing. I started playing baseball at 6, and I'm blessed. I think, like, I feel like sports is the ultimate thing that just helps you in life, you know, just with work ethic and different things. So like I'm gonna make sure my kids play sports and all that. So I'm blessed my parents put me in that because it taught me a lot just about, you know, like teamwork, work ethic, like persistence. But yeah, I played high school. I played baseball and basketball. I played baseball all the years except senior year when I tore my ACL. So I played when I was 6. I was a pitcher. I was gonna play college baseball, but that God didn't have that in my plans, and that got crushed my senior year because I tore my ACL in a basketball game, like 5 games in, even before. So it's like basketball comes before baseball season. So it was like 5 games into basketball season. I just overstepped and like tore my ACL. Didn't play another sports game the rest of my life. So
you never forget that feeling. You never forget that feeling.
Yeah,
it's like an explosion.
Yeah, it was hard, but it catapulted me into really just like where we are now.
Yeah,
you know, and just the trajectory. I think it's like you look and you see certain like decisions and time periods in your life, and it's like you just would wonder where you would be at if like things went certain ways.
Blessings in disguise,
bro.
Was it a dark time for a little bit after the injury or through the injury, and then did you get surgery and the ACL reconstruction and all that?
Yeah, I had a full reconstruction of my ACL and meniscus, and this was February 2019 because I graduated 2019. Yeah, it was a really dark time, man. Because like I think something that it taught me though is like you don't root your identity in the things that you do. Like with sports, even I think even like as an athlete, you can root yourself in that, but God can take anything away in your life.
Yeah.
So it's like not being rooted in a person, not being rooted in a thing. That's the big lesson I learned from that, because after when I got my surgery, it was like February, so it was a couple months before graduation. It was a tough time, man, and I was just really lost because I put my that as like kind of my source is sports.
Yeah. And
I got depression, you know, I gained 40 pounds in like 3 months. So I went from like 190 to like 235 in like 3 or 4 months. So it was a hard time. Yeah.
I bet, dude. That's not easy. That's not easy when that happens. What kind of, when you said that happens and then like now you're here, I want to know like kind of in that process, what was your introductory to like getting to know like, okay, this is what I think I want to put my passions into?
Definitely. So my senior year, I was kind of like, I feel like there's more. Like I'm in sports, but I was kind of questioning like playing it like for college, right? And then obviously I tore my ACL, so I'm like, all right, well, God didn't have that for me. And then I was really just trying to sink my teeth into whatever I could find. I knew I was really interested in business. I was always something I've really thought back onto is with my mom. Like she's always been able to like find deals and just kind of be resourceful, like with just everything she does. So for me, I feel like I was really scrappy. Like I was always flipping something. I would, like my mom, she had a clothing store where she would like flip clothes. She would design clothes, all that. So she was creative. She was resourceful. She knew like arbitrage, right? Like flipping. So I feel like for me at a young age, I just kind of saw that and I used that. So I was like, man, like, well, you know, if I could just sink my teeth into something business wise. This was towards the end of senior year too. So I started just digging into some podcasts. Like Gary Vee, I started watching. Andy Frisella, which I don't really like. He's a little too harsh for me. Like he's cool, but like I just feel like he'll like rip into you, man. Yeah. So and I was like, wow, I like, you know, personal development and just business. I just felt like it was natural. So I got into during that time too. I got introduced into network marketing. So MLM, do you guys know about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like this dude called me randomly one day, and I knew his wife from like 5 years prior, and he's like, hey bro, he's like, I got these mentors. he's like, come by my house. I got to show you like what they're doing, their business. They're successful. They're already retired. I was like, bro, I've been watching all these podcasts. Like I might as well get into some business. Like I was, at this time I'm like towards the end of high school. I was like, bro, I don't even know if I want to do college. Obviously sports isn't in the plans anymore. So I was really just trying to find something to sink my teeth into. And it wasn't going to be like something other than business. I feel like that's just kind of what was natural. So yeah, for me, it started before I even graduated high school. I got into the network marketing business and actually got connected, not like somebody's like random uncle who's like DMing you through Instagram. Like I actually got connected with somebody in the network marketing industry that was actually like pretty high level. And he kind of became so it was like the dude who called me, his upline, like only one up was the guy who was like the main, like ran the organization. Nice. And he was already retired, and really like poured into me, like Christian guy, good values. So that was a blessing too, of just kind of getting like exposed to more personal development. Like what is like the processes of somebody that's successful? What does their habits look like? What does their life look like? Right.
Mm-hmm. So did you start to do that? Did you sell the product that they were pushing?
You guys heard of Amway?
What is Amway? I have heard of it. What is that? That's the SunPass thing, right?
No, that's Leeway.
Selling Leeway.
I'm gonna sell you the toll passes. No, that's funny. That's funny, bro. No,
what's Amway?
It's short for American Way. It's a company that's been around for like 60 years, and usually when people think of it, they get a really bad like feeling, and they just think it's like a pyramid scheme because they're like son's nephew who like is just working at McDonald's, like tries to like pitch them on it. And it's essentially it's like an online store, and it has like beauty products, essentially like a Walmart but online. And so, but with network marketing, it's more, I learned like more leadership too. So I was meeting with people at like Starbucks who are like 40, and I'm over here at like 19, just introducing them into the business and really just building like better, relational and like communication skills. But essentially, like your question, it's like an online Walmart store, that you can sell like really anything. And you could just try to get people to like buy from it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your goal as a salesman for them was to buy the product on the website, or to get them to sign up under you so that they could go and push the product?
Well, yeah, as you know, with sales, it's more about duplicating yourself. Mm-hmm. So it was more about building an organization. Mm-hmm. Like they wanted you to, get some sales on your site, but it's more about building up your team, and there's different levels. Like there's one that's Eagle, it was like 6 people, and then Diamond, which is like, a certain amount of people in your organization and certain amount of points from people buying from the website. I didn't make any money, but but I learned some like good skills with that real like transition.
Mm-hmm. That's good, dude. That's good.
And that's awesome at that age, because a lot of people go straight from high school, and then at that age they go right into college, and then sometimes 4 years of college into their career or career choice, and they still haven't learned some of those like core skills you need just to like be successful and to push that envelope of yourself. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Yeah, because I had gone to college for a semester, but I just, man, I think like with being in America, like, bro, you just got to apply yourself.
Yeah.
Like there might be some limited belief with people thinking you have to go to college. I went for a semester. I actually went for 3 weeks, and then I just stopped going. I think my best grade in a class was like 18. But yeah, I mean, it's just like for me, even like flunking out of college, because I did go for a semester, it was like I wasn't even worried about it, because you can, like, we're in the United States, we're in a capitalist country, like your hard work is like you're rewarded for that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just self-belief.
Yeah, no, that's facts, dude. I'm in the same boat where it's a lot of time. It's crazy too, where you see, I mean, I'm not going to judge anybody for the path they want to take. Do them at the...
Oh yeah. And on top of that, I don't mean to cut you off, but like to each his own. I used to be the dude who was like, oh, if you're going to college, like you're broke, like all that. But no, to each his own. Like if you feel like you need to do that to maybe even like take a couple more years and just get the book experience, you know, to me, I would like, it just makes more sense in my mind from like those 18 to 22 years experience, like actual life experience versus 18 to 22 of like in the books and taking tests. I can just see like 4 years of experience. You're just shooting up like a rocket, like once, like, I mean, you're 3 or 4 years into something when somebody's just getting into their career.
Exactly. Yeah. That's where I was headed to, is like when I was in the construction industry, that's what you see is where you reach a certain point where you're 4, 5, 6 years in, you've got at that point, like a pretty solid trade under your belt. Like with what I was doing, it was all interior remodels. So we're doing flooring, drywall, painting, everything. So like I started to specialize in like painting, drywall type of thing, finish, like trim carpentry. And transitioning from that, it's like you obviously want to go and do your own thing. So I thought like, okay, maybe I'll go do my own like trim carpentry business, right? And so you're seeing like what competition's out there. And like a lot of the times you are up against the guy who went to like got out of high school, went to college, done the 4 years or whatever, and now he's getting out. And then that's what it is. So if you're like, you know, if I go up to somebody and it's like, look, I've been doing this for 4 years, you know, on the job training, I've been, you know, good hands-on, I can do the job. And then you've got a guy who's worked maybe a week in the field, but he's got 4 years of book smarts. A lot of times I feel nowadays they're going with the guy who's hands-on experience.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, they want someone who does a good job. And like, no matter how much you go to school, that doesn't mean you're going to do a better job, you know? And it's sad when a lot of people, like, it's just sad to see how much of our, like society, I guess, they're not chasing purpose, they're chasing, like, they're like going to college, they think, I'm going to go to college to get a good job, to, like, make a good living, instead of, like, what is it I'm meant to be doing, you know? Because obviously if you're meant to be like a marine biologist, you can't just be like, screw college. You know, like you need that schooling to like learn how to do it and learn. Yeah. But so many people go through like a whole 4-year college, and then by like 3 years they're like, I don't even care about like environmental and like whatever.
They switch a major.
Change their majors.
School isn't made to make you successful.
No.
Was that school? Did you say school isn't made to make you successful? Yeah. Yeah, no, that's facts. That's facts.
And it's just sad whenever you see people like caught in that trap, and then they're so far in debt, and they still don't know what they want to do, and maybe even end up like dropping out of school anyways, and it's just sad, you know. And that's not to say that it's easy to just like find purpose right out of high school. Sometimes you need to like go to school and like meet people, learn people's skills, like try some things until you eventually find what like you're supposed to be doing or whatever. But
yeah, I think for me, or like for anybody who is like interested in business, I think for that reason, like I wouldn't tell everybody to drop out, like even if you are interested in business, like that might be your best bet. But I would say your number one asset. I was meeting with a guy, this is like right when I got into real estate. We went to Orlando, met with this guy who's buying like 400 houses a year, and he's like, we went to his office, like crazy office, you know, probably 20, 30 employees. And we were just asking him questions after. And I was just like, you know, you went to college, like, would you still have done it nowadays? And he was like, you know what, I would have, because the networking, because he went to ASU, Arizona State, right? So like the networking opportunities there just kind of parlayed into his career. Like, so when I see people that, you know, maybe going to college, like if I see them at UF or USF, you know, that's a really good opportunity there too. Yeah. So it's not all like, there's pros and cons to everything
for sure,
you know, where I think that the leg up is like, if you go to those big universities though, on the flip side is like the networking that you get, because, you know, you go to UF, you're around high level people, you know, you're around people that are smart, intelligent, that are going to be, you know, your lawyers, your accountants, your other business people, like everybody. So that's one thing I regret is like, not that I regret, but if I were to go to college, I would really try to get into like somewhere like that, because that's golden. Like he was saying, his partner at that time, he met at ASU. So
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point. Yeah. Always wanted to do sales. I too started flipping, selling and stuff, but I was always so super scared of commission. So I always steered away from it. Everybody in my family like was like, "Oh, like commission's scary, commission's scary." So like I always just kind of avoided it out, but I was like, I'm really into cars. So I was like, if I ever did sell anything, I'd want to sell a car, like sell cars. Now I thank God that I didn't go down that route. But how did you like how did it become houses?
Yeah, so I was in network marketing for about 6 or 7 months, and then I was like promoting it on social media, and I had a buddy of mine who I knew in high school, who he said he like DM'd me one day, and he's like, "Hey, I see it sounds like you're doing a lot with the network marketing business. It looks like it's going good. Like, let's meet up. I'm in real estate." Even though I was making like $20 a month. Like I wasn't doing anything crazy. And too, at that time I was like serving and bartending at a restaurant too. But yeah, I ended up going to his house, and he was 19. And he was in the business of real estate since he was 17. So he's already 2 years in. He had 4 rental properties.
Wow.
And that year at 19, he made 6 figures.
Wow.
At 19. So I was like, I would be dumb not to like completely get attached to the leg with this guy. Not in a posture of like wanting to learn everything and then just leave, but like, let me see how I can serve him and help him out. And see if we can build something together. Like maybe I'm a firm believer, like you can learn anything. Like I have the type of mindset, like if I wanted to be like a neurosurgeon, like I could learn it if you give me enough time or whatever the case may be, a scientist, whatever.
100%, yeah.
So I just think it's time, and work ethic. But so yeah, I started just spending a lot of time with him, and he was doing something called wholesaling, which is essentially it's more of like a sales and marketing business, and you just reach out to sellers. Everything like is off market, so you're not dealing with anything that's on the MLS. And essentially, you just get a property you try to get it at a discounted price. So let's say a property is worth $200 after it's fully fixed up. So these properties that you're seeing on the market that are like fully renovated, that's like the after renovation value. So $200. Let's say the sellers had it as a rental property for 20 years and it hasn't been updated since then. So it's completely outdated. And let's say as is, it's worth like $110. Right. So what we would do is we would try to, it would all be phone sales, all cold calling. And we would reach out, try to get it at a price that made sense. So let's say we get it at 110. We would then, and we're direct to seller. So we just get a contract in place with a seller. And then we would just go and bring that to a cash buyer where they would then close on it. And we would essentially flip the paper. So let's say, hey, this property, after it's fully renovated, it's worth $200K. We'd say, hey, we can get this to you at 130. You can put 20K into it, and boom, you have a fully renovated house. You sell it at 200, make 40 or 50K. We make that spread in between from like, let's say we get it at 110 with a seller to 130. We make that $20,000 spread. And then too, right when I met him, he had a closing for a deal in like Clearwater, and he gets a check for $18,000. And that's proof of concept. I'm like, all right, that's it. I'm like, that's it. Like if one check you're making this, like this is the business I need to be in, So God really opened up a door for that. Not a person with the right values he ended up being, but it was just a door just opened up to real estate. I was always interested in real estate too. Like you were saying, when you were younger, like flipping and all that, I always knew even before I graduated high school, it was like my junior year summer. I went to like a couple of real estate brokerages and like asked them if they had anything available, but I just didn't want to, I was like, I don't want to be an agent, So it ended up like God really just put that in front of my eyes, a couple years later. So, yeah.
That's so cool. So, dude, that's so cool. I want to know, like, dude, because obviously, everyone wants what you did, but nobody has it. Not nobody, but not a lot of people have what you have, especially at this young age. And it's like, I know, like hearing you have God on your side, and you're very faithful to that. Like I know that plays a big part into it, huge part. But like dude, like what was that process like to where you're like, all right, like you said, all right, I want to do this. You see the opportunity God's put in front of you, but you're like, I don't want to work for somebody else. Mm-hmm. And I get that, and that's valid. And it's like, so then you're like, all right, like I'm just going to start my own thing. And dude, what was that like?
So fast forward, I always want to be loyal, you know, and what is it, kind of endowed to the people that put me on with things, you know? So I just wanted to, you know, serve his company, help him out. You know, if he's giving me information about how to get deals that are like this big and he's showing me the ropes, you know, I just want to help him out, you know? So essentially when I saw that check, and this was, so I was 19, this was the end of 2019. So we're talking right before the pandemic. And that's
and
a
you
whole
had just
other
graduated
thing.
high school.
I graduated 6 months earlier. I was, once again, the same month I graduated is when I started in network marketing. So before I even graduated high school, I was in network marketing. And then fast forward towards the end of 2019, I just wanted to come on board, and like, I just got obsessed, man. Like I just saw like one check can change your life, you know, like it just takes one person to say yes. And that somebody that you can serve and help, because a lot of these people that you're dealing with are more in distressed situations. You know, they're not people that you're dealing with that are putting it on the market. You know, they might have a bad tenant, all that. So I just wanted to like serve. So, essentially the process, Danny, it was, I started cold calling January of 2020. So that next month. The dude who brought me into the business, he was like getting relocated. He's up in Port Charlotte and wanted to come closer to here so we could like start working closer together. So he got a house in Cape. And I was bartending and serving like 30 hours a week. And then when I wasn't doing that, I was just straight cold calling. And we were doing, now I have like a whole team in the Philippines that does cold calls for me. But back then I was doing all of it myself. And just literally 8, 9, 10 hours a day cold calling and getting chewed out by sellers and getting crapped on by sellers. But I mean, it's just like you see the long-term vision when you see like a check like that. You're like, it's not about the people who say no. Like, you know, like you can't be so soft with things. Mm-hmm. It's like they don't know you. They're rejecting the process if they're like being rude to you on the phone. They're not rejecting you as a person. So, you know, and I just stayed faithful to, you know, just putting in the work, like divorcing the result, marrying the action. Essentially, was working up until, was doing the bartending and serving plus cold calling. So I was working like 80 hours a week, 85 hours a week. And then March, a week before the pandemic, they announced a shutdown. I quit my job and went full on board with him doing calls, and I didn't have any money. Wow. So actually, no. He gave me I told him I needed like 10K to quit my job, and he gave me like 3. And so I was like, dude, you know what? I'll make this work. I was like, I'm just so hungry, man. And I was like, I just want to like make something, you know, of myself and for myself and, you know, for those around me. So, man. And then literally a week later, they announced, that's when like March 2020 was like the pandemic was like just started. So, and then at that time, you know, those couple months from like March to like the end of summer were brutal. Like nobody wanted to sell because nobody knew what the market was going to do. So it literally took me, we got lucky, and it took me from December when I met him to that next April to get a deal. And I was calling like 4 or 5 days a week, like 8 to 10 hours a day.
Jeez.
So that was the process. So quit. I worked at Blue Moon Pizza right there off of College Parkway. And then, quit that in March, a week before the shutdown, which it was a blessing too, because I don't know if you guys remember they were having everybody like stay home. So like they weren't even letting people go into work. So like I wouldn't have been working anyways.
Yeah, restaurants were severely affected.
It was terrible, man. So like that was a blessing. Maybe I wasn't making money, but like it was a week that I left before they announced everything, like, hey, restaurants are shut down. They weren't even doing takeout. Like, so I would have been like let go, or I would have been restricted to like, you know, no hours a week. Like it would, you know, so God's been directing, man.
Yeah, dude.
And pressure builds diamonds. Look what you
yeah,
got
pressure builds
dude,
diamonds,
that's what
baby.
I'm saying. That's so cool too to see that you remained faithful, you remained persistent through the months. So you said like what was it, like December to April where you made that. How did that, was in April when you said that's what it took to get your first sale? Was that your first that you saw?
Yeah, that was a deal in Eustis, Florida. Like completely
Our
random.
boys from there. Shout out Lil Sir.
Yeah, it ended up being a guy who's just moving out, and it ended up being a $15,400 deal. But you know, obviously, I'm not getting. I think I got a decent chunk out of that, but it was just once again proof of concept, man. And for me, it was like I was happy that I was like contributing to his business, the dude who brought me on board. You know, so.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Congrats, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you for sharing that too. I like that story. That was a great story.
Yeah, people don't, man. It like something I'm trying to be more transparent about too is like I think hustle culture and just a lot of business people they don't like to highlight like the negative and like how hard things are, you know, like how hard really things are. And like I think for me it was really like disheartening because I would look on like wholesaling groups, you know, of people posting their checks that are $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, and I'm like, dude, I am literally working so hard and I'm not seeing any results like this. You know what I mean? But it's like, that's the truth of it. Like you look at like any business person when they first start up, like their day to day, what it looks like it is really hard. And it's like, just because it's hard doesn't mean you suck. Like there's just a resistance period that you need to go through. And two, it's like you were saying, pressure creates diamonds. But two, I think people think that hard times are think that it's not meant for them, but it actually is meant for you if you just are willing to like stick with things. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, like I wouldn't be able to have the capacity now for like this and handling sales guys and you know, the type of like revenue we're doing if I didn't like 2 years ago, if I wasn't putting in the work that I was putting in. You know, we're in March 2022, 2 years ago, like building up my capacity and like looking back to like where I was.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you basically took basically that 2 years of your life and basically put your finances on a hold, just relying on a prayer, and took the opportunity to learn as much wisdom as you could. So then now you can, like you said, you're ready for whatever comes your way now. And I think that is big. I think too many people, I don't know if I feel like I've heard this before, what I'm about to say, and I think you've said it before, but too many people want to be like at the top, and not enough people want to go through the process of getting there.
Yeah, they were, bro. What our men's group a week or two ago, what Jordan Hoyt was saying, that really hit me as like God is interested in the process, but we're interested in God is worried about the process, like who we're made to be, like through the things we go through, and we're worried about the destination. When it's like, there's no destination in life. Like, even if you have a deal that you make like 50,000 on, or 100,000 or 200,000 on, you wake up the next day and it's like, all right, I got to work this next day.
Right.
And like, people think that it's like and social media does such like, it just warps your mind. Like seeing, you know, the Ace of Spades bottles at the club and like people with their Rolexes. Like I was looking on, these guys' stories last night, and they're like at the club, like they have like 5 of their Rolexes in the middle, and they're all touching, and they're like pouring champagne all over their Rolexes and stuff. And I was like, that's cool, but like, what's the realness of that? You know, like I think for me, the light I want to shed is like, just hustle hustle culture and kind of the toxic positivity, you know, all that, and like that it's a struggle, man, and you got to have faith, and it's not like this huge high. It's not this huge high. Like it's just working, and like that's what you're doing most of the time. Like it's not, it's like somebody was saying this. They were saying the people who are successful understand how to do the like rigorous, mundane, daily tasks over and over, boring over and over and over again. Like, and that's what like success actually is like just doing the mundane stuff, whether it be like with you're doing, you know, the sales is like you just doing that work day and day and day over. It's not you at the club or you in front of a Rolls Royce. Like it's that work is what actually the success is.
Yeah.
Like you are, the way that you're rewarded for your work you're doing is by more work. Like it's not some being in front of a Rolls Royce and like being like, I freaking grind 24/7, all that, you know, like that's not. And two, I think what I've learned, I feel like what God's revealed to me and something I want to shed light on too is like not killing yourself for your career too. Like, dude, you don't need to work. Like maybe I'm just saying it now because I'm past that stage, but like looking back, I would have done things a little bit differently, like slow down a little bit and, you know, work, but don't like overwork to try to get like wealthy or like rich, you know, and like just because there's so many other things that come with like this, you know, that's not, that's really, that's negative.
Yeah, no, I feel that. It's
and people don't see that. People just see the office, they'll see you doing deals, but they don't see like there's a lot that comes with this. And a lot of people aren't cut out for it, you know, like there's, and being completely honest, like to your viewers, I had like a breakdown, like a month ago, just cause of everything, man, you know, but, I just like red lighted, and that's part of it. Like that happens. Like you're exposed to super high levels of stress and anxiety and all these things. And for me, it's like, I find my solace in God. But it's like, if you're doing anything high level, like for you sales, or with you even trying to be like a high level teacher, like you're exposed to more levels of stress than other people. And that's just anything high level you're trying to do. So you got to be able to like handle it. And it's sometimes you don't. And I couldn't for a little bit. I literally got this office and then had to take a whole month off because of just needing to stop, just slow down, you know? So like looking just on social media, it'll run you into the ground, or like seeing, you know, your favorite guru be like, you know, no, rich people don't sleep 8 hours a day. Like,
no,
like, come on, man.
No, 100%, dude. That was a big eye opener for me this year too, was, you know, finding that.
Yeah, we were talking about that too.
Yeah, resting.
We were talking about that.
Yeah, resting. Resting in the Lord for sure, but like resting in general, because oftentimes, and I think truthfully, I don't like to say it, but I think truthfully it is going to be, for me, it's going to be a lifelong battle, because I'm the type of guy that I've always been this way. Any job I've ever had, I throw 110% in. Like I have to be not the best there, but the best person I can be. Like I started my first job when I was 15, like bussing tables. And just then, as like we would do more than just bus tables, we do like tableside guacamole, like this Southwest restaurant, and it's just even that. Like I put passion into that, and it's like fast forwarding to where I'm at now. Just putting the passion in, being so passionate about it, it's been very rewarding financially and everything, and getting into sales and like giving it my all this year has been like super great. It's you know, financially been a blessing, been like the greatest year ever. But then I still wasn't 100% content, and I was like, why? You know, you know, this is like, had you asked me a year ago, hey, you'll make X amount of dollars, you know, if you just work this amount, told me what I was doing, I'd be like, oh, let's go for it. Yeah. But it's just so much more than that, where I was like, it's really, truthfully, they say like a common saying is like, you can make, you know, money doesn't buy happiness. Like you can make as much money as you want, but if you're not like if you're not passionate or love what you're doing, it's going to be hard. And I do love what I'm doing, but being overworked in anything, you could love what you're doing, but if you put too much too much into work, it's not going to be healthy. It's just
Yeah,
not
something
healthy.
I've had like big revelation on is it's not about how you work, it's about how you rest.
I don't have a bomb, but I have an 808, so I drop an 808. And
No, it's not about how you work, it's about how you rest. You know, like you look at athletes, something I take a lot from like athletes and like rappers and all this, like, but especially like athletes, their rest is crazy. Like, Tom Brady, have you guys seen his Man in the Arena documentary?
I haven't, no.
The way he rests is like he works really hard. He's obviously working out a couple hours a day, but other than that, he does stretching like 3 hours a day, 2 hours a day. He does these crazy exercises with crazy like recovery exercises with his trainer, really good diet. And I just think like in business, it's a performance, it's a performance, it's a sport. So you have to treat it like an athlete. And they said in this book I was reading that athletes are going to start acting more like business people. Business people are going to start acting more like athletes. So that's why you see more business people nowadays, more in shape, meal prep, working out, like all that. And then more athletes who are thinking kind of more business people. Like you look at somebody like LeBron James, Magic Johnson, like, Kobe, like any of these guys, like they're very like entrepreneurial. But I think too, you can take a lot from that is like not just how they perform, but that performance is based on rest. And you have to see like your life kind of that way too.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Dude.
And that makes it so that, cause like everyone wants to be the dude, like just to make an example, like everyone wants to be the dude with the huge pecs and the 6-pack, but not everyone wants to be in the gym 5 days out of the week. Your whole, like for anyone who looks like that is doing that consistently, you know what I mean? And I think it's like you can see business the same way where it's like if you're going to reach a certain level of success, you have to build to a point where that's your life, you know what I mean? Like you've built to where now 5 or 6 days a week, you're working as hard as you can, like the most effective way you've found, and then you're also having that period of rest. So then that way, that's your life now. You know what I mean? Like you have your rest that you enjoy. I think honestly, The Rock's Instagram is like really cool to look at because of his like cheat meals. Because he just eats these like disgusting, just like French toast, just like these giant cheat meals. And look at how he looks. But that is an example of it because look at how hard he trains most of his life. And then he has his cheat days where he enjoys like, foods that aren't good for you and stuff like that. And that's just how he lives his whole life. There's no time where he reaches a pinnacle and then he's like, all right, I did it. Yes. You know what I mean? Like he has to keep that up. And it's the same with like an athlete or a businessman or anything. You have to find a pattern of your life that you're comfortable with so that that's just the way you live. You know what I mean? And sometimes you try so hard to work so hard to get to a point where you're just like, running on a treadmill until you're just burnt out and you can't work that hard anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it got to a point where like I had a hard time even writing an email. Like it hurt my brain like a month and a half ago. Just being like completely honest, like I could barely get out of bed for like a week because I just felt so depleted. But that's where like you have to get intentional about your rest, where I feel like God for me is saying you're slow down, like stop. And it was a hard stop for me. Like one day I just could not do it anymore, but you just have to, it's about longevity, man. Like you can always get back on the horse. It's just about getting back on the horse,
That's good, man. That's another 808.
That's another 808.
I like that, dude. No, I really do. I wanted to ask a question. So with this, so you're wholesaling? Wholesale real estate, technically?
Yeah, that's all we're doing for right now, but we want to start taking down some rentals.
Nice.
Build up. Because here's the thing. Wholesaling is such a gem, man. Like, people... It's hard, though. But it's something that, like, I feel like crypto and NFT, like, with how big all that's been getting, it's kind of flushed out the wholesaling stuff. But like wholesaling was like popping off, like starting to pop off on like TikTok. Have you guys even heard of it before? Or? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for us right now, it's like the wholesaling is building up the reserves. Like, because I mean, you have one deal, you're making, our average deal size, I think, is like $20K. So, you do 5 or 10 of those and, you have some cash in the bank to go ahead and start buying your own properties, which there needs to be like that progression, like,
for sure.
And the cool thing about wholesaling too is we do all of our own marketing. So like I have multiple callers in another country doing calls every single day. And these deals that usually we would have like cash buyers purchase, we can take down ourselves essentially, and just go ahead, buy it and keep it as a rental or whatever we want to do, flip it. So it's a blessing. And like, that's the bread. Like every business, when you boil it down, is like sales and marketing. So it's like, if you can dial that in, like being good at sales, which is something that took me a while, but it's been like, for you said it's a blessing. It's been a huge blessing on my life too. It's powerful. Like it's powerful when you know how to like negotiate and, you know, make win-win situations, but not, just be good to people, but good with people, you know, kind of being able to, you know, it's like if somebody's going to sell it, like they're going to sell to you because you just have that certain way to, you know, go about, make them feel comfortable. And two, you know, them knowing, especially over the phone, like you don't have body language. So you have to be really good at, you know, tone and just saying the right things to make them feel comfortable, you know. And for us too, we have a Google business page, which I think anybody who's thinking of starting a business, please like build your Google business page, because if somebody looks you up and they don't find nothing on you, like they're not going to trust you. But for us, like we have over like 35-star reviews.
Nice.
And we try to post. So I throw that out there every interested seller we have, like I'll say, hey, like you can look at reviews from our sellers. Like we do good business, which we, you know, every real estate's shady because there's so much money involved. But we really try to pride ourselves on just being, you know, upfront, transparent, just really wanting to serve, you know, like just kind of like exemplifying God through not anything we can say, but just how we do things. You know, and I think it's why this is built too, is just because of that, like that honesty, transparency, just genuineness.
Yeah, dude. No, that's awesome. I see it too. I see it. Yeah, right when I met you, like last season, I was like, so I was in the process of transitioning into like sales management, which is some in the process now, like still trying to get like a solid group of like, you know, sales reps. And I mean, that's just a daily battle at this point. But right when I met you, I was like, this guy, I got to see what he's doing. I got to get this guy on my team. Yeah. And then hearing that you were doing your own, I'm like, I'm not even going to ask him. But now I'm throwing it out there, like live on fire. It's there. No, but that's...
Is this a sales technique?
No, but in all honesty, I mean, no, if anyone's listening and you're like needing a job, like, hey, hit me up. But
listen, anybody who's listening, whatever you're doing right now, what would be your deciding factor between staying with what you're at versus coming with my man Danny?
That's it.
Like, what's gonna be better for you? Nothing.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah. But seeing that, I was like, all right. Yeah, this guy's got it. And then I'd like tapped into your business and I was like, I want to check out like what he does. And so I checked out like some videos that you have and stuff too. And I think you've went about it in such a right way. It's like, and I'm not trying to like gas you up or whatever, like too much. I mean, you're my boy. I'm trying to like congratulate you. You're doing it right. But it's cool, dude. It's so cool to see the way, because again, real estate too, it's like, everyone and their brother wants to do real estate, dude. Everyone and their mother's doing real estate, you know, like, so it's cool to see that, like, even when I didn't know you, I could tell that your business did have something different about it. And now that I do know you, it's like, I see God putting his hand on your work and like, dude, you're you're doing the right thing. It's
Thank
awesome.
you, brother. Thank you so much for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, keep doing what you're doing, dude. I like sitting down with, I got the chance to sit down with Isaac too the other day, where we just met with coffee, and like, he's someone who I don't even really know him that well either. I met him at group like a couple times, and then like sitting with him there, he's someone who is like, he's put his 100% trust in you. And like seeing that was really cool too. 'Cause he was like, where you were like a few years ago, where you basically like did it for the wisdom, I see him doing that, and you're now the mentor. And so like, he's like, That's super cool to see.
Yeah, no, Isaac's awesome, man, and that's the key is like, sure, business is technology and data and all that, but man, it just comes down to people too. Like you're saying, you're looking for good people. Like whenever I hear somebody who's struggling, it's usually people. And I mean, any like a big tip, anybody who's in business is, man, just like I think like I've been around more like cynicism leadership and like Machiavellian type leadership, like really kind of manipulative type of the way that you like communicate with people. Like a lot of leaders, I won't even call them leaders because people don't like to let them lead them if they're like that. But people who are like in power positions, it like the way to keep people is like really servant leadership and just man, I mean, I'll talk to my guys about like, you know, like life stuff, you know, because sure it's about business, but if people know like something my dad always, my dad, he's been putting like John Maxwell books in my room since I was like 14, and something he said, and then I went and read a John Maxwell book, and it's from that is people don't care how much you know. People don't care. Okay, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Mm-hmm. It's like you can be this genius, all that, but you know, it really is just like most of life is relational. And I think that's like from a practical standpoint, that's the only reason I'm here too. Is like I'm just like a human being. I'm a person. I've tried to treat everybody with respect. You know, every seller I speak to, every buyer who I'm trying to build a relationship with to buy my deals. I've just like it's all been relational, like, you know, and you're not going to build a sales team. You're not going to do a lot of things on a high level unless you're good with with people and caring about people.
Yeah. Respect is everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, absolutely. Did you grow up as a believer?
Yeah, my parents, I was raised in the church, but really had like my eyes kind of. I wanted to talk about that too, like some more later that year, the 2020 when the pandemic hit and some of those struggles, because it got worse, like as far as the journey with the business, but that ties into like my faith too. Yeah, I mean, I was raised. We went to a church in Cape. It's on Cape Community Church, right across from Sunsplash over on Santa Barbara.
Is that different than Cape Christian?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was a non-denominational church, and I just never got plugged in the way I wanted to. I was going like every Sunday and Wednesday, but really like I was kind of like spiritually blind, you know, and it's funny because I think people even that hear about Jesus, like they know that like it's the truth, but it's like you kind of just turn your eye away. And for me, that's what it was. So like I was, you know, I went my own path all the way up until I was 20. So literally, I don't know if you guys know this, I just became like a actual like believer like a year ago.
Wow, congrats. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so yeah, I graduated, you know, and then things just started going downhill. Like we were talking about, you know, business, but outside of that, it seemed like everything was just going wrong. Like I started having bad family problems. I was in, as we've talked about, you know, toxic relationship. It was the first person I ever dated. I met, we started dating junior year, and then she didn't get along with my parents. So we started having a lot of issues. Long story short, I wanted to defend my relationship, so I moved out of my parents' house and resented them. And like, they always showed me so much mercy and grace. So man, and like that's I think where the heart of God, where I kind of knew too, like, wow, like it's amazing. Mm-hmm. They never like condemned me or anything, but I was like, it got pretty bad. Like I got really resentful towards them and didn't talk to them for a while after high school and kind of isolated. It made me like isolate myself. So that just heightened everything, you know, and I've just felt really like lonely, all that. And then I started right when I went off and ended up moving out of my parents' house and moved into a relative's. And man, I was like, I just started kind of thinking like, I mean, I just can't do this life on my own anymore. Like, I cannot do this life on my own. Like, if I do, like, I'm just gonna like crash and just burn. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen if, like, it's just me like living. And you know, my actions didn't really follow my belief. You know, I was kind of still living life in the dark, and you know, wasn't really honoring God. But then yeah, like fast forward to 2020, you know, I had that first deal close, and then nothing else closed after that for 2020. Like literally, that was when we had that one deal close. I was saying that was like 15,400, and then we were just still like just pumping out the calls every day. But remember, this is like March to like August was really hard for real estate because nobody knew what was happening with the market. So nobody was wanting to sell. Everybody was saying the same thing, man. I had PTSD from it. Just thinking in my head, everybody's like, no, I got to wait until the pandemic's over. I got to see what's going to happen. So nobody's trying to sell their house. Yeah. So you're like, bro, how did I quit my job to get into a sales business with real estate, and nobody wants to sell? Like nobody, like it was hard. And then, and I wasn't getting a salary either. Like we were talking about commissions earlier, how it's tough. It is tough. And most people aren't cut out for it.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, fast forward, August, I ended up getting like kind of extorted out of the business from the dude who I met. And I ended up, you know, like just values didn't align. And got kind of like manipulated. And that's, I mean, bro, like there's a lot of shady characters when it comes to business. You just got to be really careful. Like a lot of shady characters and people too that are really good at like virtue signaling and gaslighting.
What's virtue signaling?
That's like saying that you have certain values when you actually are a completely different way.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
Yeah, too, and gaslighting, like people trying to construe and like manipulate. Oh, yeah. So, and that's what I was saying earlier, Danny, with like the Machiavelliism kind of, I don't know if you know who Machiavelli is, but just kind of like certain manipulative, like who's somebody like Robert Greene, you know, like that type of stuff, like 50 laws of power, like just,
oh yeah.
Like, I don't know how to explain it, but yeah. So, and then August, so I ended up getting pushed out, and literally that day I was on my own from that day on. So I was with my the dude who brought me into real estate for about 9 months, and then ended up going out on my own. And you know, he's changed. You know, he's changed, and I've completely forgave him. You know, he's been to Ocean too. I've invited him to Ocean, and we're good, and I wish him success. It was just at that time, you know, he was 20, I was 20. And it was just, you know, like immaturity too, you know, when like money's involved, and it's just kind of growing up that needs to happen. That just wasn't there at that time. And that was another thing too. God was guiding that, because I was kind of like seeing the writings on the wall. I was like, all right, there's a lot of things like I'm not liking about the way this business is and like the way it's ran. Like it was really like, I remember we would get deals under contract, and then if we couldn't get it sold like to the investor for like a, you know, wholesale deal, we would just like block the seller's number, and like wouldn't like try to get a cancellation for the agreement or let them know, hey, we can't sell this. And then like it was just, and it's stuff I look past, you know, red flags, but it is what it is. Like you live and you learn, and that's why we're here today, like with the how I am just with my values, and really like I will not. Like the seller is a top priority. Like everybody we've worked with is the top priority. So it's really important. So that was another lesson. But yeah, and then dude, with like you were saying with faith, it was really hard. Like all I had an Apple credit card that was like a $2,500 limit. So I go off on my own. And all I have is like $2,500 Apple credit. And I think I only had like 600 available. Wow. So, and I don't have any other money. Wow. I have a condo with a girl that we have to pay, all that. So,
and this is the one from junior year still?
Yeah. So this is like a pretty long relationship. And, So yeah, I go off on my own. 2 days into cold calling, I get a lady who says she's ready to go. And I'm like, yo, this is going to change my life. Boom. I get it assigned, $12,000. And then she calls me and she goes, my family says they don't want me to sell it. And I would have tried to like press into her and like say, hey, you have to, like, this is a binding contract. But it was just a situation, you know, it was like she was really old and there was some dynamics there. So I just let that one go. And I was like, dang. I was like, man, that $12,000 really would have helped. Mm-hmm. And then fast forward, I had another deal that I was following up on. And I'm doing the same thing. I started working more. I was working like 11 hours a day. And so this is like August, September, October, and still like dry. I'm going more broke. I remember I had to like call my mom because I didn't even have like any money for gas. And she came and brought me like $7. Like I was so like, it was pretty bad, but yeah, man. And I just started I never dealt with like stress and anxiety in my life, like panic attacks, stuff like that. But after a few months of like how hard it was, and we were like 2 or 3 months behind on rent. And, that was really hard. And, bills just kept coming up, couldn't pay it. And I just started like having like mini panic attacks. And I've never dealt with that stuff in my life. Mm-hmm. Like I've always been the ones just like anxiety. They're freaking faking it. Like they're not, like it's just in their head. But nah, man, it's real. And it's like, even if you don't want it to happen, like there's imbalances, you know, it's like enough stress, like in your life will cause things to happen to you. Like psychologically, neurologically, like it happens. So I just started, man, like, and then during that time too, I got introduced to a spiritual mentor, which is another blessing, who was super successful with business. And even though I didn't, Mars introduced me to him. Shout out Mars Desire. Shout out Mars. It's my boy. But yeah, Terry Felber, who is super successful in business. Even though I wasn't making, you know, any money, I was introduced to the right people. So he started opening me up to the word and just going in depth in a way that I had never been exposed to. So yeah, man, it was like from August to December, 0 deals. I had this was probably like the breaking point, but like, that's what like what you're saying, Brian, like pressure creates diamonds, man. And like, God can work in like our issues. God can work in our messes, man. And yeah, through this too, I still wasn't talking to my family really. The relationship was getting like super bad. And it was creating a lot of issues too. Like once again, like kind of manipulative. I mean, you know how some of these girls can be, but it is what it is. But yeah, and then so I just started having like a lot of, you know, like kind of internal issues. And man, I just started seeking God like crazy. And just felt, not even from like reading the Bible or anything, but like supernaturally, like I just feel like God like worked in my chaos and like gave me peace. Like something that's like my favorite verse is Psalms 23 is like, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. Like that was the truth, you know, in that time now, but especially in that time, man. And the like really the turning point. Y'all, this is crazy. This is crazy. I'm like excited because I've been on one other podcast, but I didn't really share this, so I'm going more in depth. I had a deal at the end of November, so I'm like almost 4 months in, still 0 deals, and I'm still putting in the same amount of work. And we're talking like I'm almost a year in, right? Because I met him like that prior December, and I'm like, dude, I'm so tired. Like I've been working like 10, 11 hours a day, 6 days a week. Like I'm just so tired, man. And I remember I had a deal I got in Tennessee, and it was supposed to be 35,000, right? 35,000. And I'm like, Jesus. And this is when, you know, I really just felt God like supernaturally coming in my life. There wasn't a verse, there wasn't anything. I just felt like he was in my struggle, you know. And then too with Terry really opening up the word, I just felt like so comforted, man. And then I got that, and then so right after that, so I met Terry October, so towards the end of November I have this deal. It's supposed to close, I remember it was November 24th, 2020. This deal was supposed to close. I was supposed to make $35,000, and this was going to be the deal. Like pay off. We were like 3 months behind on rent at this point. I didn't have any money. Like I literally didn't. The Apple Card, there's nothing left on it, and it kept declining payments. So I didn't have anything. Like I literally didn't have anything. Like I remember I wanted to go to like McDonald's. I couldn't even get like a McChicken, bro. It was terrible. And so I ended up going up for yeah, they good. I ended up going up to Tennessee for the closing, and it ended up falling through. No. Like a day before closing, ended up falling through. So, bro, I'm crushed. And, like, everything looked perfect. Like, buyers were like, yeah, we're going to be at closing. It's going to be good. Buyers end up backing out because of something with the parcel. It was the day of closing, right? And then I'm just dealing more with, like, the relationship, all that, and then family. But something I remember is on the way up there and on the way back. Okay, in Tennessee, it's super conservative, so all you're seeing is like, the crosses everywhere. So, but not even just there, every single way up there, I just kept seeing crosses like everywhere. Like I was driving on the highway, and I drove the whole way up to Tennessee. It was like 12, 13 hours. Crosses everywhere, bro. Like, and usually, okay, you see that in like Tennessee or like Alabama, right? Like these super conservative, and down here it's still conservative, but like you don't see crosses like that just on the side. I remember just seeing so many.
Even like you can look way out in the mountain and you see like
bro,
three little crosses.
Literally. So I kid you not, I probably saw like 50, and I was like on the way there and on the way back, and like I'm like seeing it, and I'm just like crushed. I'm like, God, I don't even know. I really don't know what to do at this point. So I remember it was Thanksgiving. It was the day after we got back. It was like the 25th, I think. And I was like, I can't do the business anymore. And so I start looking for DoorDash. I start looking to do DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats. This was when everybody was like doing all that stuff, like Instacart.
Yep.
Nothing was available. So I'm like, bro, I can't even get, because I wanted to have something that I could just kind of do until I could get back on my feet with real estate. And that was still the faith thing. I was like, I'm still going to do it if I'm able to, but I literally couldn't because I didn't have anything left. Like, so I was like, all right, I need to seek out, like a side hustle. And nothing was hiring. And then I remembered in my head, this was like, so it was Friday we got back. On a Sunday, I was looking through Uber, all that. I was just crushed, man. I was like, how did this deal fall through? God, I've been working for so hard. I'm literally looking on like Facebook, still seeing people with these $20,000, $30,000 checks. And I remember there's a guy who told me to call him back. He told me to call him back. And I remember he said Sunday. And I don't know why. Usually I don't remember like specific leads like that. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to call him. So I call him. And this is like the same day I'm looking for Uber Eats, Grubhub. I'm trying to find anything. Like I will literally do anything to make like $50. And I call him. He's ready to go. He's like, yeah, I'm good to go. It was the right price. And he was like, yeah, let's meet. Let's get this done. I was like, bro, what? I was like, what the heck? And this was a guy that I remember I had him at 90,000, and that's where I needed to be at. And he went up to 130. But for some reason, something was telling me I had just call him. So I literally call him, and he agrees at the 90. I'm like, how did he come down 40,000? So long story short, I met him the next day at the property. We get it under contract. We close this 2 weeks later, and I ended up breaking up like out of that relationship too. Just moved back in with my parents. And it ended up being like a $7,000 deal. And like that's where I felt like was like the turning point of like,
wow,
you made it through the fire. And I just felt like maybe circumstances didn't change. Maybe I think I had to pay everything off, like rent and all that. But even still going back to like having a little money, I was like, I feel like this is a turning point. And that was right at the beginning of 2021. And bro, that's like, back to your question with faith, I feel like that's really what just God working through all that. I was like, all right. I was like, this is real. Like God is real. Like I know I couldn't have pulled myself out of being able to get through this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, dude.
That's an amazing testimony.
That is such a cool testimony. That's
And two, even like the way that he's just worked and healed relationships. Like my relationships with my parents is back being really good, just healed, you know. And I was just such, you know, like having the right woman in your life. Like we talked about, this is so important. But if you have the wrong person who just doesn't believe in you, who just sees like contempt for you, and who is just contentious, who's always trying to like argue and really not support you, especially in those tough times. Like I really needed support, especially in those times, but it was just added on like stress. He just took me completely out of that, like getting out of the relationship, getting out of, you know, and just really just healed. I think me too. Once I started going to the Bible studies, and then just really seeking God like that, him working in that, it's like no anxiety, no stress, and it was like a coin flip into 2021. Like it was crazy.
That's awesome, bro. I'm happy for you, man. That's awesome.
Thank you, bro.
And it's
Appreciate
crazy
that.
how quickly you see it compound after that. You know, it's like it's exponential growth at that point. Once you do realize it and you do make certain changes in your life, it's just it's almost like, all right, now you're where you're supposed to be. Let's get going.
Yeah, I think it's like progressive revelation. You know, it's like I think a lot of times we know what we need to do, but it's just like enough pain. Like people are like, see like growth as like a butterfly and like something beautiful. Like, nah, man, it's pain. It's pain, but like you know, in order for you to grow, like you have to go through some sort of pain, you know, most of the time. And for me, that's what it took. It took me having enough pain in my relationship. It took me having enough pain in business. It took me having enough pain with some relationships that were really important to me that I neglected, that you know, needed to heal in order for me to like really change.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's big, dude. That's huge. That's huge.
And it's awesome to have situations like that. So now for the rest of your life, you can look back on that. The rest of your life, you can,
yeah,
because that's an extreme scenario. You know, not everybody has that to look back on and remember, like, okay, he had my back through all of that, and now like he's brought me here. You know what I mean? Now who knows where else he's gonna bring me?
Yeah, and I love it too, man, because I think too, is that fine?
It's fine.
Okay, got you. I think it like we gotta like count it all joy when we go through things, because too, like you can help other people with that, bro. Like you can serve other people with you know all those things that you've been through. So for me, I just see it like even with you know, leading our men's group. Like I think that if I wouldn't have gone through some of the things I went through, like I wouldn't be able to serve other people and maybe speak life into other people the way I would have if I hadn't gone through that. You know?
Yeah.
So I think it's important. Like I think it's important.
And it's crazy too. Like it's crazy having this conversation, because when we started the last group, when I first met you and Mars and the guys and everybody, I was basically at that, reaching that rock bottom stage of just like, what do like and now it's crazy to see how it's all developed, because then I had the coin flip, kind of large in part because of meeting you guys, you know what I mean? And I had no idea what you had went through. It's not like you met with me and was like, listen, this is what you need to do, because I just felt that. It like none of that even happened, but it influenced me, you know what I mean?
Yeah, wisdom through experience, man. That's the only way you're gonna get it.
Yeah.
You know, and for you too, like you see the flip coin, and it hurts. Like it hurts, especially with any relationship. Like it hurts. There's pain, because you love those individuals, whether that be, you know, parents or like a sibling that you're not good with, or a relationship that you need to get out of and cut out of your life. Yeah. You know, friendships. But it really is like, once you are able to like make those decisions, like you're going to be able to pour into people effectively, because you're like, bro, like I literally have gone through this, you know, like something I'm passionate about too is like porn, you know, like issues with porn. I think so many men go through that, and, you know, it's a big issue for me, you know, so like talking about that and like how to pour into people with that, with, you know, just struggles in life, in different capacities. It's just wisdom through that like experience, which now it hurts that you went through that, but like, it's like you were saying, like, it's something that can help you for the rest of your life. And it's good that you do go through that at like a younger age.
100%.
One thing I did have a quick question about, it's on the topic of real estate. And it's fine if you haven't heard anything about it. It's crazy. It's something I've seen that I don't know if it's like true or not. I'm always trying to like see what like people who have like knowledge in real estate know if it's true or not, if you've ever heard of anything. But I saw this on TikTok and I'm like, is this real? Where basically,
is this the NFT house?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't mess with NFTs. I like the concept of it, but nah, you won't catch me talking about an NFT probably.
Good. Me neither.
So what this is though is people like go online and they look up I forget like what the website is, but it's basically some sort of tax website where you can run up like a property. Like it'll have you like give a bunch of list of properties, and on that list you can see what they owe and like their like what they're owing their property taxes, and then you can then say we're looking at a property like people haven't paid their property taxes in X amount of years, and then they owe like 10K, 30K, whatever it is. You can pay off their taxes, and then they're like. They have a redemption period where there's like a couple days of redemption. I think 3 days or maybe 7 days redemption where they have that period of time to pay you off. But if they don't pay you off in that time, in that relief period, you get the deed to the property.
Is that like surpluses or is that a little bit different? Do you know the name of it?
I don't know the name of it.
There's like tax deed sales. There's different sales that like the county holds, like auctions. That kind of sounds like a auction, but I could be wrong. I just stay more with like my niche, but that sounds like some sort of auction sale type thing, but
True.
or surplus, which is I don't even want to go into explaining it because I'm not like the best with it. I probably like screw it up, but
yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, I was just confused because I'm like. I see these people on TikToks like posting like, oh, how I got this plot of land for X amount of dollars or this. Usually, it's not usually that it's not like from what I've seen, people aren't getting like full houses and stuff with it, but oftentimes it's like a plot of land or something where they're getting. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know, but it's some sort of like tax website from what I've seen. So I don't know, but yeah, it could be an auction type of thing. I'm not really sure. But I was like, dude, that's a pretty cool idea. But on the same token, it's kind of messed up because at the end of the day, if people aren't paying their property taxes, that's not cool. But if you're taking like somebody's property at the end of the day, I don't think that's right. I don't know.
Yeah, you want just like business role, just like doing things, morally and ethically. Somebody's saying this, like if you wouldn't want it to happen to your grandma, like don't do it.
Yeah. It's wise. Yeah. That's a good way to go about it. Yeah, I try to be that's good. I try to be compassionate too when I'm in. It's been a struggle too as far as being my first year in sales. It's door to door or not door to door. It's like warm leads in home sales. So it's like I've felt that like it's almost neuroselling in a sense. You're selling off human-based behavior. Like you're, in a sense. Really, you really are. But you have to be, you got to have that compassion. Like it's something that I've prayed for where it's like, there was a strong point in time where I was like, I don't think it can be done. I was like, I don't think you can be a good salesman and be like loyal to God. Like I was like, it seems impossible. It seems counterintuitive. It seems like the good salesmen at my job are being manipulative and deceitful. And like, there's guys that have AirPods that'll leave an AirPod on the table when they go to like run out their samples out so that they can like pick up what the customers are talking about when like he steps out, microphone on the AirPod. And I'm like, that's sketchy, bro. Like, I don't want to do that, And I'm like, I remember one day and specifically, I was like, pitch and missing, when I'm like, you're not selling it. And I remember having a conversation. I was like, why, Lord? And then my next lead was one where I went for where it, now that I'm in a manager role, sometimes I'll get a lead that's not necessarily like product interest. It's like service, where like we sold these people windows and now I'm out there to like take pictures to send to my installer. So I get a lead like that. Previously sold customer of mine, sold them like months ago. Windows are in. I'm going out there to assess some issues they have. Mind you, I was on my way to Punta Gorda. It's crazy. 10 a.m. lead. I'm going to Punta Gorda. I get a call from my call center. She's like, don't go to that 10 a.m. Turn around. You're going to Naples. She's like, for service. I'm like, okay. I was going to Punta Gorda for 15 windows. That's like a juicy lead, house full of windows. And I was like, okay. And then I get that service lead. And I'm thinking, all right, Lord, I'm trusting you. But I was like, this is crazy. But I was trusting God, because the day prior, I was like, just in it, where I was like, that's where I was like, how can you be, I'm having trouble being like a good moral, follow, have good morals and like be ethical and be a good salesman and do good at my job. But I'm too hard on myself. I am good at the end of the day. I'm just way too extreme. And, so I go to these people for service, and these people are believers. I had sold them before, and I knew that, but I didn't realize it. But right when I walked in, one of the first things that caught my eye was like a Corinthian verse, like wall decor. And I was like, all right, cool. And then I just building my rapport with the guy. Like, he was really upset with our company at the way we installed the windows first. And he was like, look, like, originally I wanted to have you out to, like, think about more windows. But he's like, before I even think about signing into a contract, like, my windows need fixed, all this. He had there's a bunch of stuff, like just a bunch of little stuff. Yeah. And I'm like compassionate with him. I'm like, look, I'm level with him. I'm like, look, man, I'm on your side. I'd be upset if I were you too. Just, leveled with him, showed that I cared, and was there to solve his issue. And I'm taking pictures, like doing that. And then like God was in our conversation. We're talking about our marriages. We're talking about children and everything like that. God and testimony and stuff like that. I actually got pretty deep and vulnerable with him. And like, basically, long story short, fast forward hours of me sitting there and like doing it. I walked out with a contract for like windows, like all new windows. Walked out with like solving his problem, because he was really upset when I got there, and like I don't like that. And so like he was really on good terms so that was good. And then it's like I left there just thinking like God's got me. Like I was like going into this, I'm thinking like, oh, and like leaving the 15 lead to come here for service. Nothing was big. He was super upset when I got there. So it's like, oh, but like God just had his control on that whole situation. And from there too, like this guy was in sales too. He sold boats, and he's been in sales for like 15 years, and he sells boats down in Naples. And like, I built a good rapport with this guy. He really liked me or whatever, but I'm just driving, going to my next lead, like later in the day. I think I was on the phone with him or on the phone with my wife, and I'm getting a call from like this boat group, and I didn't know it at the time, just said Viage Group, and I answer it, and it's basically the guy that helped out, his boss, like calling me, and he's like, hey, so you were at Alex's house today, Alex and Jackie, and like, he's like, first off, like, Alex doesn't like anybody, but he's like, right when you left his house, he called me telling me that we need you on our team. and he's just like, we basically just gave me like a quick rundown on how they go about business, and just saying that like him and his wife got on the phone with him immediately after I left there that morning, and just saying that like I was a guy that like they feel would be a really good part of their team. And I'm very happy where I'm at. I'm not looking to go anywhere else. I respectfully told him that too. But that was another way I felt God showed me, like, I've got you. Because the day before, I was praying. I was like, God, how can I be a good disciple and be a good salesman too? Because it seems like I can't do both right now. And then he showed you how. And then he showed me how, and just showed me like other ways too. I was like, all right, cool. And yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. That's cool. That's good, bro. Yeah. Yeah, I think you like just like servant mentality once again. Like all we're doing is presenting options to them, Yep. And people just want to be heard. You just listen, and God will definitely guide the rest, bro. That's good. I love that.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see where we're all going to be at next year.
Me too.
What 2023 will look like for
me too
for everyone.
Me too, dude. Me too. Yeah, I'll be praying for you and your business like constantly. Just I want to see like like he said, I can't wait to see where you're at and where OfferTrust is at a year from today. Hearing where you were at a year prior from today.
Definitely, man. Vice versa, bro. You guys are go-givers, and you guys are gonna do big things. So I'm always for support and all that.
Absolutely. Thank you, bro. It's been a pleasure. Dude,
yes, sir.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I appreciate
bro.
it.
Thanks for having us here, dude.
Yeah,
bro,
dude.
It's my pleasure, man. Thank you guys for coming along, and bro, good conversation.
Absolutely. Is there anything else you want to touch on, like, or where can people find you? Where can people get tapped in?
Yeah, Instagram is Donnie Goodman with 2 N's at the end. That's mainly what I'm on right now. And what does it be? Something you want to leave everybody with, or what would it be?
Anything else you want to touch on?
Yeah, like so OfferTrust, does OfferTrust have a website?
Yeah. If you guys ever come across any of your listeners, any properties, their grandma, their parents, anything, we buy quite a bit of properties in the area. So, and as well too, we do pay pretty good commissions. Just for like a referral, we pay up to like $3,000 just for referring us a person if we're able to buy it. So, yeah. And then I would just say, man, like just be curious with your life. Like I would tell everybody that, like, just be curious with your life, and don't, like, with success. I would say we're having a conversation about business, but like you gotta like see what's important for yourself with your life. Like for me, this is cool, but I've even like retracted it back a little bit to be like, all right, I really need to like pour more into my relationships. Like there was, there's times even a couple months ago where I'm going out with or I'm doing like business stuff, and I'm turning down, like dinners with my family and all these other things. This podcast makes it sound like I'm so bad with that. No, I promise it's not like that. No, like I do spend time with my family, and all that, but like that was just an example. Like, really, like, just think about like what God has on your heart, like in your soul. Like, what do you value?
Yeah.
And kind of like going back to we're doing a study right now on Ecclesiastes, which I think people, even if they're not believers, just reading that, there's so much wisdom in that.
Yeah.
Is and the question that I was like proposing to you guys was like, what are we chasing after that really matters to, and is your vision more than like money, because if it's just money, it's gonna be like short lived, And it's cool. Like you can have a business, but like don't let your goals just be, making $100,000 in a month, because you're gonna wake up the next day and you're gonna be like, all right, I did that. Now there's no purpose, So really just seek, and something I'm still trying to do is just like seek what's in your heart, And if that's okay, like if you care more about being around your family and you don't really need like the big career, like if that makes your heart happy, like, and that's what you feel like is honoring God, just being the best like husband you can be, or being, the best brother you can be, or whatever that looks like. Like, there's so many forms of success. Like we're just talking about like business, like where I'm at, but like for your viewers, like just kind of ponder on that.
Mm-hmm. That's wise, man.
I love that.
That's a bomb right there, dude, to end us
Drop
off.
the 808, man.
Hey, yo.
Yeah, that's it.
Where
dude.
can they find us at, dude?
You can find us at City of Palms Podcast. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, we've got new episodes coming out every Monday. Watch us visually on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. Highlight clips on Instagram. That's City of Palms Podcast. Anywhere you listen and watch. New episode every Monday.
Best in the game in the area.
Hey, I appreciate
Best
that.
in the game.
I
Hit him with the
appreciate
outro,
that.
Biscuit.